welcome back to a new video. As always, it is your own godly host, SGSAMI. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this video, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, what I'm about to say in this video is going to be controversial. And for the record, no. My opinion is no. The people who think this do not understand the story of Black Clover and are just skipping chapters. Honestly, is my best response. So, for the record, no is my overall answer to this video. So if you want to skip the video now, skip. But if you want to deep dive with me into a philosophy I want to talk about, then stay, and thank you all so much for supporting me. And guys, we just hit over 6,200 subscribers, which is just absolutely crazy. Give yourself a pat on the back because every single one of you are absolutely fucking amazing. And don't forget to join Discord. And also, guys, I'm going to try my best to refrain from chapter 261 spoilers the best I can in this video. So this video will not contain any spoilers or very, very minimum spoilers for the next Black Clover manga chapter 261. And as always, guys, be sure to read it over on mangaplus.com. The next chapter arrives tomorrow, Sunday, August 23rd. With that being said, let's get into this video because there's a lot to talk about. Is Black Clover boring? Okay, yo, welcome! So, let's just jump straight into it. What do I mean when I say, is Black Clover boring? I've seen, as the story progresses, as story progresses, Black Clover and every other series, My Hero Academia, Fire Force, One Piece, it's gonna have people who will hate the story no matter what. It's gonna have people who are absolute monkeys and follow bigger YouTubers who've read maybe like 5 chapters in their entire life and say Black Clover is the worst in Shonen Jump. It's gonna have haters who watch other YouTubers who have read 200 chapters but just don't understand what Black Clover represents, and they call Black Clover bad, and they're just gonna call it bad, they're just gonna bandwagon. But putting that aside and explaining to you guys, no matter what happens, there is always going to be Black Clover haters. One of the biggest topics in Black Clover I've seen discussed is that Black Clover is boring. The reason they call Black Clover boring is because there is a lack of danger. According to them, there was a lack of danger, a lack of death, major character death in Black Clover, and apparently Yuki Tabata has teased us with major character death, including GAUCHE's death a couple chapters ago, Noelle and the entire Heart Kingdom blowing to smithereens a couple chapters ago, and obviously YUNO's death a couple chapters ago. But obviously, as you all know, apart from Noelle, because obviously I don't think Noelle's gonna die, none of those things have occurred. Noelle is going to survive. YUNO was revived by William Vengeance. Gray got a boost and revived GAUCHE, which turns out, for the record, her magic might not even be revived, like transformation magic. And obviously, as you all know, Klaus was also revived. So, where do we go from here? People say Black Clover is boring because of the lack of death, the lack of danger, and every major character death we've gotten has been undone. Par the ones I've just mentioned. And they say one of the other major things is everything that happened in the Elf arc had 0 stakes to the story. They say, and I quote, the entire Black Clover Elf saga, which started on literally chapter 8, I believe, when they went into that town, when they went into Magna's town, and in Magna's town, they defended the town. They say everything in the Elf saga was power-ups. Characters gained power-ups, and it was all power-ups. Nobody major died in the Elf arc in Black Clover. And honestly, yes, that is true. Outside of the majors, outside of everyone who is dead pre the story starting, nobody of major character died in the Black Clover Elf arc. All main characters survived. Everyone survived. Even Fuegoleon survived, who, for the record, was nearly lost his arm. His grimoire was disappearing. Everybody survived. Hell, even ASTA, YUNO versus Licht they all survived. And at the end, Patri, who died, came back to life. So yes, and even Julius Novachrono, one of their biggest complaints is that even though Julius died, he came back to life. Now let's talk about this. Does a story's quality, does the quality of a story rely on its major character deaths? That is the question you need to ask yourself. And I believe that a lot of people choose to focus on Black Clover on this because Black Clover is part of the new gen that has this. But everyone also ignores the other comparison, My Hero Academia, or the other comparisons from what the other old gen that I've seen is One Piece. Let's talk about One Piece quickly. Spoilers for One Piece. One Piece is now what? 990 chapters long. Tell me one major character death. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So a lot of you have gone, most likely here, to Ace and Whitebeard. Ace and Whitebeard have been the biggest major deaths in the One Piece universe. The only ones close to Luffy that have, as far as I know, that have died to give that super big impact to Luffy and the rest of the story. Hell, even in Wano right now, Ace's story is still resonating with Luffy because Luffy is tracking where Ace once tracked before. But think about this. Ace and Whitebeard. Ace, yes, we know a lot about Ace. He was in a couple major arcs before that. He appeared before his major death, and his death was a major impact to Luffy, and his death was very well done. Then people might be saying Whitebeard. But let's think about it. Did we really know much about Whitebeard? Like honestly think about it. How many chapters was Whitebeard a part of before his death? But you know what? Okay. In the One Piece 990 chapters, there have been 2 major character deaths. Now let's think of everyone else. How many times has Usopp come close to death? How many times have Luffy been on the literal brink of death and come back? How many times has Zoro been caught up so much and still survived? Shoutouts to Kuma versus Zoro. Nothing happened at all. And how many times has Sanjay literally died? Hell, in the mermaid arc, in the underwater arc, the entire plot was Sanjay was literally dying because every time he saw a mermaid, his nose would bleed and he was literally losing blood. Sanjay, the entire plot of that arc was revolving around Sanjay was literally dying. But up until this point, how many Straw Hat members have died? 0. Out of the entire 990 chapters in One Piece, 0 major character deaths, apart from Ace and arguably Whitebeard, have taken place. Does that now make One Piece boring? Because One Piece has a lot of hints to death. A lot of times where Luffy should have died. A lot of times where every single one of them should have died. Hell, even Nami, Usopp, Chopper, Zoro, Sanji. But does that make One Piece boring? Hell, even other major characters. You remember Pell? A lot of people seem to forget, but do you remember Pell? Pell literally took a nuclear bomb into the sky, blew to smithereens, and came back unharmed. Does this make One Piece boring? No. Even though there have been 0 major character deaths since, I don't know, 500 chapters now, One Piece still sits on the throne as number 1. One Piece still is the best current running manga in Shonen Jump. Now let's skip to another one. My Hero Academia. A lot of these fanboys are MHA fanboys attacking Black Clover, so let's talk about My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is now what? 200 and... If I quickly just go back onto this, My Hero Academia is this week's, will feature its 281st chapter. How many deaths have we had in My Hero Academia? All Might's death would have been the absolute best for Deku. Back when he beat All For One, if All Might would have died there, that would have been the best death for All Might. But Horikoshi said no. We then get introduced to Mirio, around chapter 120, and then we get introduced to Night Eye around chapter 130, and then Night Eye dies around chapter 160, I want to say 170. We knew Night Eye for about, give or take, 30 to 40 chapters. Night Eye was the first major death in the My Hero Academia manga. That was 160 chapters in. 160 chapters in, a character we've known for at best 40 chapters died. A character that, yes, sure, Deku was mentoring, but a character's death that really didn't affect Deku. It affected Mirio, which was even worse because we've known Mirio for like maybe 10 more chapters than we've known Night Eye. Now, am I saying Mirio is a bad character? Absolutely fucking not. I love Mirio's character, but imagine if Mirio died. Mirio is Yue's #1 student, the one Deku find out should have received One for All, but it went to Deku instead. Now imagine Mirio's character, even though Mirio was in this story for maybe 40 chapters at that point, imagine Mirio versus Overhaul, Mirio died. That death would have meant much, much more than the one death we've gotten so far in this story. Now skip to around chapter 260, Shigaraki wakes up, spoilers, a little spoilers for the My Hero Academia manga here, but Shigaraki wakes up, he kills a lot of heroes. But it's a lot of heroes we know almost nothing about. Nothing. Now a lot of people are saying, yes, Horikoshi King! But is he really? How many of the heroes that died when Shigaraki woke up can you name and tell me about? How many? Now some of you are saying, what about chapter 281? Alright, okay, but spoilers, I'm not going to talk about chapter 281. Chapter 281, by the way, is a really good start of, and the first, I would arguably say, the first major character death in the My Hero Academia manga. That's 281 chapters in. Black Clover is currently at chapter 261. Now let's switch back to Black Clover. Let's talk about Black Clover. What do the deaths that have occurred in Black Clover mean? The biggest one a lot of people misunderstand is Julius Novachrono. Julius's death and obvious resurrection made sense, but a lot of people say it shouldn't have happened. But here's my argument. Julius's death, or whatever happened to him, he lost his entire power. Julius was the backbone defender, solo defender of the Clover Kingdom, and he completely lost his power. Julius is here now as a plot point to advance the story, as far as we know. His character technically still died, but okay, let's say he didn't. Now we come into this massive Spade Kingdom War arc. Nobody of major importance has died. But hang on. Something people seem to forget is the side characters in Black Clover. Yuki Tabata does an absolute amazing job developing side characters, and two major side characters in the Golden Dawn died. One of them was Hammond. Hammond, a lot of people might not know about, but Hammond died alongside Siren in Black Clover. Now, what do we know about Hammond? Siren, okay, sure, we don't know much about Siren. Sure, fine. But what about Hammond? If you closely think about it, Hammond has been in every major arc in Black Clover. He was there from the beginning of chapter 20 in the Royal Kingdom attack. He was there when he became a Royal Knight. He was there with Klaus versus ASTA versus YUNO. He was there as an elf. And he was there defending the Golden Dawn in his eventual death. Hammond was a major character death a lot of people just seem to ignore and forget. But this is the argument I want to talk about. Deaths doesn't make a story boring. You can't say a lack of major death makes a story boring. Because the point of a story, even though it hasn't got deaths, there are other major stakes. Asta in this arc literally lost his entire right arm. Now a lot of you saying, so what? Asta didn't die. He didn't die. this doesn't matter. Asta didn't die. Sure, Asta didn't die, but he lost his entire right arm. His entire right arm is now demonic. A lot of people seem to forget what the point of this entire Black Clover story is. The point of Black Clover is Asta and Yuno's journey and mission to become the Wizard King. Asta, having now completely transformed his entire right arm to a devil's arm, is a major point in this story, is a major sacrifice that will continue to affect Asta's life and journey to become the Wizard King. This is going to be major plot points in the future, because let's say you're a civilian in the Clover Kingdom. Are you just going to be like, ah yes, devils destroyed this entire kingdom. Ah yes, I'm just going to trust my life into the Wizard King Asta, whose entire right arm is demonic, who has devil powers. No, you're not. You're going to be worried. It's going to affect Asta's mission to become the Wizard King. Now, I'm going to shout out someone from Twitter. Shout out to Litness over on Twitter, who can say this a lot better than I can. If I remember now, I'll show it to you on Twitter, but I want to read out what he said. People say Black Clover has no stakes. When people's souls were sacrificed, people died, the threat of the demon invading the human world, body parts are being permanently sold, and we don't know how the story is going to end, as confirmed with some other series. Some series give the final outcome of how it's going to end, but with Tabata, the master of plot twist, the ending still remains ambiguous. Anyone who came back to life in Black Clover had the ability to do so. It is not an ass pull, and the characters actually did in fact die. Litness said it better than I ever could have, and he definitely deserves a shout out for that post he just made. But ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm trying to make in this video is Black Clover boring? A simple answer is, what are you looking for in this story? If you're looking for major character deaths back to back, Black Clover isn't that. Black Clover will take its time to build up characters and make the sacrifices they do worth it. And on top of that, if you want a major character death every single arc, every single chapter, do yourself a favor and read a different series. Black Clover is not for everyone. Some people just do not understand the dark, serious undertones and what every decision means for the future of Black Clover. Some people just read it at face value. GAUCHE came back to life? Nah! Fuck it! Black Clover 0 out of 10. Garbage story. But what does this mean? It means Gray's magic isn't what we expected. We got major flashbacks for GAUCHE and Gray's characters that we've never seen before. Flashbacks that Gray mentally keep down, and now her entire magic might not be what we have seen. It is leading to future developments, the exact same way as Julius's revival led to future developments being the Spade Kingdom War arc. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, if you're reading this story for death and you want major character death every chapter, then these stories aren't for you. And if you're just hating on Black Clover for the sake of hating it, go ahead. I'm not here to tell you otherwise. And TBH, at the end of the day, it's up to you how you read and understand the story Yuki Tabata is trying to tell you. At the end of the day, the best he can do is write it and hope you understand that major character deaths, or their lack of, does not make a story bad or quote-unquote boring. I hope you enjoyed what I said in this video. This video did turn out to be a lot longer than normal. I did get a recent Black Clover poster, so I hope you enjoy that. And as always, please be sure to support the official release of the Black Clover manga. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for the support on this channel. This video has reached the longest I've ever had in a video. And I'll see you in the next video. My name is Jimmy, as always. Peace.